In this episode, I squat in my suit, and neither Dylan or I are in mortal danger. Hey guys, welcome back to yet another Project Pilsen episode. Just finished my equipped squat for the week, and it went swimmingly. I was a little bit big, a little bit bloated today. I was up around the 108 mark, just from a weekend of Doritos and pretzels and all those kinds of good things. I tend to get a little bit bloated from I don't lift on the weekends, so that in and of itself usually adds a little bit of water weight. So came in today, suit was fitting a little bit tight. This is me leading up to making a whole bunch of excuses as to why my depth was off today. So I took 355 for my first single. That one was definitely high. I took 360 for my next single. That one was a little bit better, but I would still call it high. Dylan filmed it from the side. And we saw that it was definitely high. So my third one, 365, matches my all-time PR in my suit, and that one was in. It was barely in, but it was in. And I'm confident that if I can hit depth, probably 1 kilo to 2 kilos heavier than I'll be competing, then I should be okay to be in and around that range for competition. I'm not hoping for anything crazy on meet day. You know, if I can go up to about 370 or so, I'll be pretty damn happy with that. And we'll see what's there on the day, but I'll probably be opening up in that 345 to 355 range. So hopefully next week I'm gonna take a stab at, something a little bit closer to an opener, and we'll just kind of go from there. After that, I took a triple at 335 kilos, which again was a PR. I haven't really done triples in my suit up till this training cycle. So pretty much every week's been a triple PR, which is great. And then moved on from there to my raw bench. Now, raw bench at the end of last week was feeling really crappy. My equipped bench gave me some really, really bad bicep tendonitis. And Thursday and Friday's bench sessions were quite a struggle. So what I did was I took an extra day off on the weekend. I cut a couple of bench sets out on my second last day, on my equipped deadlift day last week, and just kind of let it heal up. So today's raw bench actually went really well. Went up to 172.5 kilos for my raw single, and that moved not as well as I would have liked, but it was a pretty good misgroove. As soon as I pressed it, my left shoulder kind of popped out. Wasn't great, but it definitely doesn't feel as bad as it did toward the end of last week. Following that, took 157.5 kilos for 2 triples. The first of which was excellent, and Dylan didn't film it. The second of which was garbage, and that's the one Dylan got for everybody. That's just the way that works out, I guess. So I think one of the biggest things, and it finally felt like my bench kind of made sense again. Like, it felt like the beginning of the training cycle, things made sense, clicked, and then kind of fell off throughout the last couple of weeks, especially my equipped bench. So we'll see on Wednesday whether or not this is actually the case, and I have sort of discovered the issue. But my leg drive, I was doing some pretty different things. I was focusing more on kind of trying to spread out instead of push myself back down the bench. And getting that feeling of pushing myself back down the bench gave me that real intense tightness in my mid to upper back, and helped me get my chest up to the bar a lot more. So a lot of my reps leading up to that 172, which might have been a little bit heavy for today, were better feeling than most of the reps that I've done this whole training cycle. So we'll see. Hopefully that's the ticket. Hopefully we get back in the shirt Wednesday, and things feel better, but who knows. After that, I did slingshot bench, and slingshot bench felt a huge amount better than last week. Last week I called it off at 190, called that a 9. And this week was back on schedule for what I was hoping to hit last week, which is 197.5 for my 9. So I went 182, 190, and then 197. Followed that up with an AMRAP at 80%-ish. So that was 162.5 kilos, and I got 7 reps there. So 7 reps with 160 last week, 7 reps with 162 this week. That's pretty much the definition of progress, so I'm happy with that. Moved on from there to my raw deadlifts, just baseline volume today. Pulled 290 for 2 sets of 4. Called the last one, my back's feeling a little bit dinged up, and I just didn't want to risk it. Squatting really heavy in my suit and trying really hard to hit depth tends to end up tucking me a little bit. So that puts my back in a little bit of a vulnerable position. So what I like to try to do is just listen to my body and not push it, not push the volume, not push extra stuff. My deadlift's been progressing really, really well, so I figured if anywhere, that's a place I can maybe cut back a little bit. So that was it for today. That pretty much wraps up our session. I wanted to talk today, not necessarily as much a question of the day as just kind of a little bit of a chat, but I've had a number of people leave comments and ask about knee wraps. Now, I really only have 2 pairs of knee wraps that I'm familiar with. One pair that I used in the past. So I have some here with me today. I have the THPs, which I'm currently using. And I have the Gold Signatures, or Signature Gold, sorry, wraps that I was using just before this. So these are the 2 that I'll probably talk the most about. The other pair that I have used in the past was the Inzer Grippers. Now, I found those just hurt more than they actually gave anything. They're very stretchy. They have little rubber inlays along the inside strip, so they're not gonna slide around on your knee, which is a nice feature. But I found that rubber inlay just really, really bit super hard. And I also found that I didn't really get a whole lot out of them. So I much prefer these 2. They're both made by Titan, and yes, I'm a bit of a Titan shill because I prefer their stuff. I think it's better than everybody else's, so that's just my opinion. Signature Gold, I don't know how much you can tell there, but they're a little bit of a thicker wrap. So they're a little bit stiffer when you get your first pair. Both of these are actually probably gonna feel a lot like cardboard, but the tension in the Signature Golds is a lot harder to stretch because they're thicker, because they're a little bit tighter, whereas the THPs, you can get a lot more stretch out of them. So for myself, as somebody who self-wraps, that's pretty much my sole deciding factor. I get more revolutions out of these wrapping myself than I do out of these. I feel like because I get more revolutions, I get a little bit more thickness of wrap overall, and it provides me with a little bit of a better feel. But so basically that's the breakdown of why I prefer the THPs over the Signature Golds. I think they're both great wraps. If I had somebody reliably to wrap me, these might be a bit of a better option because they are a little bit thicker. But as a self-wrapper, it's a little bit more reliable that I can get the same wrap and good coverage and a high number of revolutions out of the THPs versus Signature Golds. So if you're self-wrapping, I'd recommend something that's a little bit stretchier. If you have somebody to wrap you, these are definitely gonna give you the most pop out of the hole. Anyways, guys, I hope that helps. I hope that answers any of your questions about knee wraps. If you guys have any questions about anything else, feel free to ask them down below. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. We're coming up on the competition.